Hello wonderful people, welcome back for another fresh and interesting video from this channel. So today I'm going to speak about the two formats of photography, that is RAW and JPEG. This is one of the most debatable topic wherein what should we use, whether we should use RAW or we should use JPEG while capturing photos. So I would be speaking about these two topics and what you should use and when you can use each of them, and which would be efficient, which would be more better in terms of taking photographs. So basically, RAW is the one format wherein whatever the camera sensor captures the photo, it freezes the entire photo as it is and saves it into the memory card. And JPEG is basically whenever it captures a photo, when you click the photo and it captures the photo, the camera sensor takes the photo and processes it to a lower grade, and whatever it feels is important, it captures and it saves it to the memory card. So basically RAW is the entire file and the JPEG is the process file. So when you capture the photo, it is always better to capture it in a RAW format so you get the whole thing. And especially if you're a beginner, you should capture it in RAW, so that and you can even capture in RAW plus JPEG. There are even formats of such sort wherein even RAW is captured and even JPEG is captured in two different formats, and then you can use it to post process it. You can use the RAW format and post process it once, and then you can use the JPEG and post process it, and you can see the difference as you process it. So you'll get to know that the tiny variations which you try to make, it hampers the quality of the photo. So in RAW it hampers a little less, then in JPEG it hampers a little more. So basically it's always prescribed to use in RAW, but as it takes a lot of space in the memory card. If you have a lot of space in the memory card, then you can capture RAW plus large, but if you don't have that much space, you can go for JPEG. So it all varies from situation to situation. Even the space wherein you're capturing photos, the place where you're capturing the photos, the environment, so how the situations are there. So RAW is basically, sometimes it takes anywhere between 10 MB, 20 MB, 30 MB, 40 MB, 50 MB. It depends again from camera to camera, the settings, whatever is there. And JPEG, wherein it starts from 4 MB, it goes 5 MB, 6 MB, 10 MB, 12 MB. So again from camera to camera it depends. But I would prefer, when I started photography, I went through a lot of sources and tried to collect the information, and I started basically with RAW plus JPEG. So when I started photography, I had almost 3 memory cards. One was 32 GB, another was 8 GB. So I started with RAW plus large and I tried to segregate it. And mind that when you capture RAW photos, you should even have editing software such as Photoshop or Lightroom, because those high quality photos, RAW is basically really high quality photographs which you capture, and to process that you need high graded software, that is basically Photoshop and Lightroom. So when you capture them, when you capture and process them, you will get to know how large chunk of photo file or information is there in that photo. So you get to know all that. So basically JPEG was formed, there was a group known as Joint Photographic Extension Group. So this was a team which made the JPEG format. The team was organized in 1986, and by 1992 in September they formulated the first JPEG standard format, and then from then on it's being used. And RAW is the entire photo as it is captured, so that is RAW format. One more point about RAW is basically when you capture a photo, so to process the photo, if the photo is on a large scale, if the photo takes a lot of space, so to capture that photo, RAW takes, as I already said, that RAW takes a lot of space to inside the memory card. So when you capture the photo, it takes a little more time than compared to JPEG to capture and save it. So you need a lot of time in between of capturing more photos. So if you're capturing in burst shot, to capture one photo, it might take 1 second. For example, it might take 1 second in terms of RAW, but JPEG it might just take 0.2 seconds. So basically JPEG is faster if you need to capture photographs of like sports, or bird photography, animal photography, wildlife photography, wherein the object is moving fast and you need to capture every moment possible. So at that time, JPEG is used. But wherein raw, basically you have, so raw, if you know that okay, the situation is in such a way that okay, you can capture raw photos and you can have a long time duration between two photos, wherein for example if you're taking portraits or if you're taking other normal photographs wherein the object is still and it's not much of movement, so at that time you can use raw for better quality purpose, and it can even be helpful for post processing. But as I already said that you need a good Photoshop app, or you need a Lightroom app for particularly for editing these photographs, because these all are high-end photographs which are high-end photograph apps, basically to editing apps, which processes these for raw photos in a easier way or better way in compared to other applications. So you need even Photoshop or Lightroom to edit those photos. And JPEG, you can use it and edit it in any normal photo applications, even in your Android mobile or Apple mobile iOS softwares. You can use them and edit it. There is even one more format known as DNG. So it is used in between of RAW and JPEG. So it is a compressed version of RAW basically. You can even use that if you have in your functions. It's basically, I guess, in phones. So a lot of phones would use those formats. And raw and JPEG, so this is major of the thing. And one more thing which you can use basically while capturing photos, if you're a beginner, try to go with raw plus JPEG, so that you get to know the difference and how you can segregate, or how you know the color. Even sometimes the histogram which we have, RGB, which in every photo there's a histogram. So you get to know that while you capture in RAW and while you capture in JPEG, you can differentiate in various conditions and terms and all that. Various features, various conditions, you can differentiate the photos, and you can have a bit of clarity wherein how you need to capture the photos, and what are the various things you can do to get good photographs, even without post processing. Sometimes even post processing is required, sometimes post processing is not even required. So it all depends upon the photograph, how you take it, which format you use, and all the various other conditions you take into consideration. So to end this video and sum up this video, I would just like to say that if you have a lot of memory cards, or if you can afford to buy few memory cards of 32 GB and 64 GB and all those, and wherein you have less clicks, go with RAW, so that you get to know the quality of the pictures. And if you don't have those many memory cards, you can buy at least one memory card of 32 GB, and then you can go with RAW plus large and capture less photos, and wherein you can differentiate wherein how RAW and JPEG works basically during post processing in all that terms. And then later on, once you learn more and more about photography and cameras and all the settings and variations in the environment and how you can click good photos, at that moment you can go with JPEG and shift over completely to JPEG. And in some situations wherein you think you need post processing, at that moment you can click in RAW, and then you can post process and go ahead with the photographs. So that's it. To end this video, I would just like to say, if you have any queries or comments, you can leave it down in the comment box. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can share this video with all the photographers and other friends who are learning photography right now, or planning to learn photography. So this one format and selecting the format would help them a lot. And if you did not subscribe to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, AJ Creative AJ. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Thank you.